Jack Butland sent a cryptic farewell. Davide Ancelotti could be stepping out of his father's shadow into the Ibrox hot seat. Rangers are plotting a move for a £4 million midfield gem that could transform Raskin's game. And Rabbi Matondo, a return that nobody was asking for, want all the latest. There's a lot going on, and we're diving into every bit of it. Stay right here till the end. The curtain's just about down on another dramatic season at Ibrox, and right as the dust begins to settle, there's a big one breaking. Jack Butland, the man once tipped as the sure thing between the sticks, has sent out what looks like a farewell message. Now, let's call it what it is. At the start of the season, Butland looked the part, commanding, vocal, the kind of keeper you feel safe with. But as the months dragged on, cracks began to show, a few costly errors, a touch of hesitation, and suddenly Barry Ferguson's hand was forced. Ahead of that vital Europa League tie against Athletic Bilbao, he made a massive call, dropping Butland in favor of Liam Kelly, and although the European dream fizzled out over 2 legs, Kelly did enough to convince Ferguson and, more importantly, you. Since then, Kelly's become the go-to man. 10 appearances, 4 clean sheets, and a calmness that's hard to ignore. Compare that to Butland's 26 games and 10 clean sheets, but with 28 goals shipped, the numbers tell a story, and it's not one that flatters the ex-Palace man. Now, as the 49ers takeover looms, and with Ferguson possibly just keeping the seat warm, there's a lot of moving parts. Player futures are up in the air. The manager's seat likely to be one of the first things the Americans shake up. And amidst all this, Butland's Instagram post shouting out Joel Ward's exit from Crystal Palace with a heartfelt "What a man" feels less like a tribute and more like a man coming to terms with his own next chapter. It's no bitter ending, mind you. Ferguson's still full of praise, and Butland's been the ultimate pro backing Kelly. But let's be real, Ibrox waits for no one, and sentiment doesn't win titles. Here's the kicker: with investment coming and Kelly looking the part, is there really a future for Butland here? Or has this been a polite goodbye wrapped in a social media nod? Would you rather keep Butland as a dependable number 2, or is it time to cut ties completely and bring in someone who will genuinely push Kelly, maybe even replace him? It's not every day you hear whispers of the Santiago Bernabeu echoing through the marble halls of Ibrox, but here we are. Rangers have made a significant offer to bring in none other than Davide Ancelotti as the new head coach. Aye, that's right. David, son of Don Carlo, Real Madrid's number 2, now front and center in the Ibrox hot seat race. The 49ers enterprises aren't wasting time. While the takeover is still being finalized, they're moving with purpose, looking for a leader who can finally bring a bit of consistency, a bit of structure, and, let's be honest, a bit of European sparkle back to the club. Barry Ferguson reckons the announcement could come within days. Now, at first glance, Davide Ancelotti might seem like a left-field shout. No top job experience, just 35 years old, a CV full of assistant gigs at Bayern, Napoli, Everton, and Real Madrid. But dig deeper, and it starts to make sense. He's been beside the very best, worked with world-class players, and soaked in elite-level football for years. Tactically sharp, a quiet operator, and already known for his mastery in set pieces. He's not here with a band of his own coaches either. He's already spoken about preferring a club-driven model where the manager fits into a wider system, not a one-man empire that collapses every time a new gaffer walks in the door. That alone signals a massive cultural shift at Rangers. Stability over chaos, identity over improvisation. With Kevin Thelwell set to run the football operation and recruitment handled through a defined club philosophy, this might be the first time in years Rangers have a plan instead of a panic. No more scattergun signings for 6 different systems. No more starting from scratch every 2 seasons. Ancelotti fits into that. Of course, there's always risk. The lads never managed a first team There's pressure from day one. And this is not a development post, it's Ibrox. And when you've got Celtic, a club with 2 managers in a decade and a conveyor belt of success, stability isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. But with Real Madrid knowledge, top-tier pedigree, and an eagerness to prove himself on his own merit, Ancelotti might just be the right gamble. Or he could be another bold idea that ends up a failed experiment. Is appointing a rookie like Davide Ancelotti a stroke of genius, or are Rangers about to make the biggest mistake since Pedro Caixinha's tent on the pitch? With the 49ers enterprises nearing the final signature on their majority stake and Davide Ancelotti, Rangers are wasting no time in identifying the kind of player who could thrive in this new era. Enter Metinho, a name you maybe haven't heard before, but one that could soon be echoing from the stands if things go to plan. The lad's valued at around £4 million, and while he's yet to properly explode onto the European stage, there's a growing sense he might just be one of those signings, sneaks in under the radar and ends up running the show. Originally from the DR Congo but raised in Brazil, he's got that samba flair mixed with raw grit, a proper blend of steel and silk. They're calling him the Brazilian Paul Pogba. But what should catch your eye is where he's played. Belgium, Holland, France, Switzerland. This boy's no stranger to adapting, and at just 22, he's already building the kind of CV that hints at massive potential. Now, stick him next to Nicholas Raskin in a 4-3-3. You're starting to build something. Raskin's been one of the few bright spots this season, a player with fire in his belly and the kind of vision you just can't teach. Metinho sitting deeper, breaking up play and driving it forward. That could be the balance we've been crying out for since Steven Davis's legs started to go. It all fits the Ancelotti mold too, not just the name, but the system, discipline, movement, composure, traits Ancelotti senior values in his midfield and that his son's likely to replicate if he arrives. And here's the real beauty. £4 million is the sort of deal you can make work without bankrupting the rebuild. But it's a gamble, isn't it? He's only played 11 games for Basel, and this is Ibrox we're talking about, where pressure doesn't come in drips, it pours. Yet, if this is the first signing of the Ancelotti era, it sends a message. We're not here to throw cash at the wall, we're here to build a team piece by piece with a purpose. Would bringing in a relatively unproven Metinho be a smart strategic move, or just another hopeful experiment that ends with us scrambling for answers when it really counts against Celtic? Rabbi Matondo is heading back to Ibrox, and let's be honest, it's not exactly the homecoming anyone was dreaming about. The Welsh winger signed for £3 million just a couple of years ago with all the hype of a Bundesliga pedigree and Champions League promise, has now been sent packing by Hannover after a pretty limp loan spell. 1 goal in 8 starts, injury troubles, and clearly not enough to convince the German outfit to spend even £1 million to keep him. Marcus Mann, Hannover's sporting director, confirmed the doors closing with a polite wave, thanking Matondo for his commitment and service to the team. It's the classic football send-off when a player's not quite been good enough, but nobody wants to say it outright. And now he's back, still under contract for another year, sitting on the wage bill and very much a square peg in a squad that's crying out for consistency, quality, and a bit of fight. For a lad who came in with electric pace and attacking flair, it's felt more like a flat battery. The question now is what Rangers do with him. Does he get a second chance under what could be a new manager in Davide Ancelotti? Or is he just another reminder of a transfer policy that's been more miss than hit in recent years? Because let's face it, we've spent more money on flops than some clubs spend on entire squads. Is keeping Rabbi Matondo around for another season a waste of wages? Or should Rangers finally bite the bullet, cut their losses, and free up space for someone who actually wants to play for the badge? If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.